Here's why you need to reconsider before the next time you pick up your phone to go get advice from an online group or your friends. That's right. I just said it. We really don't need to be getting advice from our friends, and especially not from the online groups. So, what I've noticed from being in different women's groups online on different social media platforms, these are free groups that I'm specifically referring to. But really, this would apply likely to even probably if you're in any paid groups. But what I've noticed is the general consensus when a woman goes on and asks for relationship advice. You know what? The number one thing that you will see in the comments, and this is like floods of comments, it says, leave him, get out now. Um, Everything under the sun into acknowledging that it's not your fault, it's the man's fault, and why you should leave your relationship. And I find this really concerning for a number of reasons, what I'm going to talk to you about today. And what I'm really going to dive into, I'm not really going to give you advice because what I have to say isn't actually advice, it's perspective. And so if this has already got you interested, you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video and really hear me out what I have to say and consider this for your own life and within your relationship or other areas. This could definitely be applied to other areas. So before we jump in, my name is Audra Coons and I help science-driven women really come back to themselves, really become spiritually certain so that they can harmonize their lives, specifically within their health, their marriages, and within their businesses or their heart led work. So I'm so glad that you're tuning in, and let's go ahead and get started. So I think I have, let me see in my notes here. I think I've got 4 reasons that I'm going to talk through on what to consider the next time that you are trying to navigate life's challenges, trying to navigate something going on within your relationship or marriage, and your first go-to is to pick up the phone and go to a friend or go to a group. And maybe this isn't even the first thing. Maybe this is a last resort, because oftentimes when I'm working with science-driven women and successful women, they don't always go to people for advice. They often are trying to figure out things on their own. But what I've realized is that anybody can kind of fall into this pattern. And especially with all of the content that we see online and all of the different things that people are talking about out there with relationships, it can be easy to fall into this trap and into this pattern where we get so confused about our own situation that we end up outsourcing it to these groups that I'm talking about, or even your close friends. And so the first thing that I want you to consider is um, or before we even get into those, really just acknowledging that anytime we're getting that advice, it's often well intentioned. So I'm not here saying anything negative about the comments or advice that is showing up in these groups or that you have gotten. Is that oftentimes the people that we're going to, or even amongst groups that we're in, it's again well intentioned, and it's trying to be coming usually from what the person thinks is a good place, but it's what they're not realizing is that it's really usually only coming from their own experience. And not only that, it's coming from a wounded place. So this is right, especially within groups, right? This is just comments that are being spewed out. That's really reactionary. And it's not something, that again, it's just really kind of coming from a wounded place or their own specific experience. And it's just kind of being projected out at you as a reaction based on whatever post that you have made in there, or the limited information that you've given in that. And so we'll go ahead and dive into the 4 things that's really going to be important for especially for science-driven, successful women to really consider. And so the first one is really asking yourself, who is this advice coming from? And so if it's within a group, likely the answer to that is you don't even know, right? Because there's all different comments in there, and you might not even know this person at all, or you may have very limited information about who they are or anything about their life. And so, really asking, who is this advice coming from? Um, do I even know that? Right. And if it is somebody that you are aware of or know, you may want to ask yourself, is this person happily married? Are they coming from being divorced, or are they a single woman? Right. Like, just kind of even acknowledging their situation. And so, really to consider, who am I getting that advice from, specific to what I'm asking about. So I'm giving you some examples about relationships where, like I said, this applies to any different area of your life. And so you might be asking something about your health, specifically to other women, because we might want to talk about womanly things or emotions or something like that. So you can kind of keep that in mind as you're applying this to your own, your own life and your own situations. And so, uh, with that, the second one kind of leading into this is, does this person who's giving the advice or has left a comment, do they really have enough context to be giving you advice? So is this something that's tailored to you, your circumstances, you as a person, of how you operate, or is this really just blanket advice because they got a snippet of something and right, they're just spewing out some advice? And going right into number three, we're just going to get right down to it today. Is there room for you to consider yourself, what you really want, or what you know to be true deep in your heart and in your body? Is there room for you to filter that in this advice that you're getting? Or is it just something that's telling you what to do? Right. So as I started this video, I mentioned, right, the thing that I've noticed a lot in some of the groups, and this is often larger groups that I've noticed this in, but it happens anywhere. I've noticed this in small conversations of women as well, is right, somebody's asking about their relationship, they share something, maybe there was a conflict or something going on with the relationship. And if you scroll through the comments, like like I said, 95% of them are leave him, get divorced, all kinds of terrible comments, and is likely leaving that person more confused than when they came in. Um, when they're really just looking for some clarity, they're really, in a position where, and this is again why I'm talking to you. If you fell into this trap of asking for advice, then you really want to reconsider and see, is this actually helping you? Right. And so the last one, the number four to consider is this a projection from this person's own painful experience or wounded experience? Right. And of course, like, we all have our own experiences. And so, anytime we're talking about something, we're going to be relating to our experience. So I want you to hear what I'm saying here, and the people that this message is for, you'll catch that, right? Is this something where it's just a reaction experience that they're giving you? Or is this wisdom that this person is sharing from their own embodied experience? Or is this some perspective that this person is giving you that you're able to then consider that for your own life? Right. And so if you start using your discernment, and I've talked about discernment in another one of my videos, I'll see if I can link it here for you. You're going to start to be able to tell the difference, or you're going to already know the difference in is this person just reacting and just telling you what to do? Because there is a lot of that on the internet, especially, and a lot of that just within ourselves as humans, that we just want to tell people what to do. And, I've been on my own journey through this. So, I've been there too, in thinking that I know, I have the best thing to say, or I know because of something, and you end up telling the person what to do. And, oftentimes it's really not helpful. And so this last one, number 4, is really asking, is this a projection, or is this wisdom that somebody's sharing with you, or perspective that you can then take, discern, what message is there for you, and then filter that into your own situation and what you're trying to figure out for your relationship or your life. And I feel really passionate about talking about this because there, you know, there are a lot of people who are leaving their relationships, or getting divorced after a long-term marriage, and who really, there's ways that they could definitely be working through these things. And I'm not here to say, right, that I don't have any problem with divorce. Sometimes that's what is needed and necessary, and that's the best thing for actually both people. And so that's something that, you may very well may decide on that as well, where what I'm referring to is, right, a lot of content out there and a lot of people's opinions that is just kind of this man-hating, or even specific to just like any problem comes up, like that's it, and it's just very black and white. And so that's really what I'm speaking to. And I also know, because even throughout my own challenges in my marriage, I've been with my husband for several years. We've been married for 9 years this year, together for many more in addition to that. And so, in seeing what type of information is out there, thank God I knew, if I saw content like that, or comments from people that, whoa, like, that was not something that I would follow, or just being able to know that I am, and this is what I'm going to talk to you in the next 4 things, is what to consider so that you're making the best decision for yourself. And as I work with many women who are married or in relationships, and, headed towards marriage, I think this is really, really something that needs to be talked about, because a lot of what's out there is the other direction. And so these are 4 things that you can do instead, when you're feeling, there's some type of challenge, maybe you're having some type of conflict, or maybe you're just confused, whether that's, again, in your relationship or another area of your life, what you can do instead to get that clarity and to really kind of take the next steps for yourself. So the first one is to go inward. Take some space, be in silence, and really see what comes up for you. See what is true for you. What is your heart whispering to you? What is that quiet voice or knowing that comes up? And this presents itself as a very soft nudge. This is not usually the thing. It's not really ever, in my experience, the thing that is screaming out, unless you've been kind of on your inner work or spiritual journey for a while and it's starting to get louder. You may hear it louder, but it's still not coming as a loud yelling or forceful thing. That's usually our mind or the thoughts that we're having. So as you're going inward and taking that space for yourself, what is the soft nudge? What is that whisper, that knowing that's, ooh, okay, right? That's underneath all the loud, chatter that's going on in your self-talk. And this would be away from the noise. And as I was just describing, the noise that's outside of you from other people or the noise that's within our mind. Right? If you knowing that we all have these thoughts, we have beliefs. If you're resonating with this message at all, this is not new information to you. You've likely worked on other triggers, other limiting beliefs and things that are going on. So you know what I'm talking about. And so really take that time for yourself. So number 2 is ask for guidance. Ask not other people, not groups. Ask your higher self. Ask God, source, universe, however you relate to that, but ask God for guidance. And I know that many of you may still be unsure about that, right? You may have had religious trauma, confusion. You may be amidst that journey. And so, if that's the case, then sending so much love. I know that that can be a journey, and I get that and understand that. And I work with a lot of women that, are going through that. So, but really just asking God for guidance, asking yourself in that quiet space. You can also do this in journaling. You can simply just start talking to God, right? Whether you resonate that that's a prayer or not, it doesn't matter. And again, see what comes up. Listen. Sometimes it's right then. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. Sometimes it's longer. So that really is dependent on you and where you're at. I'm not able to know that from, sharing this information in this video with you, where that's number 2. The third one would be to connect with a coach, a mentor, a therapist, someone who's actually capable of giving you sound perspective. You can get support from a trusted friend, where I could go, on about that because it's very specific, to that, because a lot of times even our friends they're still only giving from their perspective. But if you do have close friends that are, that know you well, that are really able to manage their selves, maybe they've been doing consciousness work, their own inner work, and they're able to discern that. And so they're really giving you as objective as information as they can. Nobody can be fully objective, but you can use that, but I would really aim towards, somebody that's a hired professional or somebody that is a mentor, that can really hold that space for you, give some perspective, so that you can help make that decision rather than just, again, throwing out information that's specifically from their own experience, their own life, and from how they operate as a person. Because the truth is that we all have different nuances and different little things about us that's going to tailor that, and it's going to make things a little bit different for each of us. So, get a coach, a therapist, a mentor. I'm actually all of those things as well as I'm saying that. And I've had experiences, on that side, and also in my own mentorship and in those spaces. So, number 4 is filter any advice that you get through your own lens, right? And so this is what I was talking about earlier with being discerning with anything that you are getting, even from a coach, a therapist, a mentor, whoever it is, a hired professional, somebody within, definitely anybody in a religious or spiritual community. Like, that does not mean that you follow what is they're telling you either. It's really important that you're filtering that through your own lens, your own consciousness, and then knowing what you're picking up to take with you. What do I need to apply for me in my life and my relationship, my situation, and what, of course, sometimes there's stuff that we leave there. And again, if you want more information on that, you might want to check out my discernment video. And I also have I'll link this in the description box, but my Rise in Radiance 5D roadmap. It was a live experience, but now it's immediately accessible by replay. That is something where I go a lot deeper into knowing your lens, what I mean by that, and the different places that we can be coming from depending on our consciousness level, or I don't even like using the word level, but the state of our consciousness and how we are viewing things and seeing things. And so, if that's something that you want to deepen for yourself, I invite you to check that information out below. Um, and really, just I would love to hear comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, but just kind of really sharing with me a little bit about what you got out of this video and, how you've navigated through that. If you've had any of these experiences, or maybe you've just seen, uh, what I'm talking about in the spaces that you're in. And so, I really appreciate you being here. I'm glad that you're here. If this message resonates with you, and you can definitely click subscribe if you'd like to, uh, check out, make sure you're getting notified for further videos that I'm going to be making. And I'll see you in the next one.